What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Alliance War video. This is Arnold7. This is Season 49, War number 4. LVT has matched Legion. I have 7 fights this war. I am bringing Titania, Symbiote Supreme, and Chee'ilth for Path 2 in Section 1, Path 9 in Section 2, Node 39 Void, Node 42 Adam Warlock, and Node 43 Serpent. Alright, into my fights. First up is Rintrah on Node 2. That is the first fight on Path 2 in Section 1. I will be using a Rank 3 Titania. I am fully boosted. I am running half suicides with Titania here, and she totally handles the node here. I'm buff immune, so I can ignore the node. With Rintrah, you just want to be knocking him down frequently. So I'm going to try to bait his SP1s, just get a heavy to follow. With her Haymaker, I'm going to have plenty of openings, but just, comboing until he gets about 5 of those Mystic Charges and then finding a knockdown. So very straightforward. So here I am shy of my SP3. I run in thinking I'm going to get to it and drop the special, but it's actually a special 2. That's okay. With the Science Power Back boost, I am back to an SP2 again. So we'll just reset and then get to the SP3 to get the kill. Ideally you just drop the SP3 and kill during that burst phase, but I was just shy in power and threw the special a little prematurely. But no issues, just makes this drag on in fight time a little bit. SP3 will kill right here. Alright, next up I have Symbiote Supreme versus Vision Aarkus on Node 11. This is the second fight on Path 2 in Section 1. This is a tactic defender. It's going to be a bunch of parries at the start to just get my prowess up. That will also turn off his ability to shrug the buffs, because those count as a purify, and I will also turn off MD. So basically I just need to get into the Sim Supreme cycle, so get to my SP3, and this fight should be done. But Aarkus is not one of the tough tactic defenders by any means. So here we are, SP3. Come out of this, be a little patient until I can get back to the SP2 and drop a few of those for the kill. So there's the SP2. I get the power drain. It actually takes me all the way back to an SP3, so we'll throw that, and Vision Aarkus will die. This is the first war that I've gotten to use Symbiote Supreme, and it's also the biggest war I've had this season so far, so it's good to get to use him. Alright, into Section 2, I have Path 9. First up there is Jessica Jones on Node 27, and I will be using Chee'ilth. You don't need to do anything fancy here. So Chee'ilth obviously wants to heavy counter heavies and specials, but I'm just going to play this very straightforward and combo into her. Chee'ilth, as long as you SP1 spam, will ignore the unstoppable like Valk does. So I'm happy to let her throw specials. Ideally, I'm going to try to push her to an SP2 just because it doesn't have a projectile. But I do want to be keeping that buff from the SP1 up, so I want to be throwing SP1s as much as I can. With the hazard shift, I'm basically just ignoring it because I know that Jessica Jones is going to die before me. I do get some cleanses, and obviously if I tried to heavy counter her specials or her heavies, then I would get cleanses faster, but I knew I was going to win that health race. Alright, next up is Sersi on Node 36. I'm using Symbiote Supreme. This fight doesn't go exactly to plan, but I'll detail what I tried to do here. I am using an invulnerability boost, and at the start of this fight, just like most tactic fights, I just want to get a lot of parries and get my prowess up. And then what I want to do is trigger her glancing buff and some regens and use that to fuel my MD. Unfortunately, I get clipped by heavy there, losing one of my invuln charges. And you'll see the hazard shift is doing pretty good damage to me already. I need to just be able to nuke this. So once I get into cycle, I should be good. So it takes me a little bit long to get to my SP3, but here we finally have it. So we throw the SP3. But unfortunately, I am in between the glancing timer. So after this SP3, glancing is going to come up. I'm going to get to my SP2. There's the glancing. and the SP2 barely does any damage. You know, ideally, you throw that in between the timers, and you just get back to an SP2 after throwing it. So I go back to SP3 here to nullify the glancing, and then this is the time that I want to use to kill. She is in an SP3. I have taken a couple hits, so I lost my invulnerability. But because of Null's Shadow, or whatever the second blessing is called, I take way reduced damage. I've got protection from it. So happy to push her to SP3 there. It does give me an Incinerate as well, but just add that to all the damaging debuffs. So I get back to an SP3, and then one more special should do it. Takes me back to another SP3, and we'll throw that for the kill. So not perfect. I could definitely do this fight cleaner, but we get it done. Symbiote Supreme, once you get an immense cycle, just has tons of damage. Alright, on to the mini bosses. First up is Void on node 39. I will be using Chee'ilth. And just like that Jessica Jones fight, I am not going to concern myself with heavy punishing. So we are just going to throw medium, trying to pay attention to our combos a little bit when we can, but we've got her cleanse ability to get rid of Void's debuffs as well. So the most important thing here is just not to get hit. And then we're going to throw lots of SP1s and let the bleeds do the work here. I'll just happily take his specials into block, no need to dex. I do not want to trigger any buffs here with Conflictor, but I think I do trigger one dex later on in the fight. But all in all, this is pretty straightforward. Just get your parries, take the specials into block, and rinse SP1s until he's dead. A little striker, another medium into the SP1, and the bleeds take him down. Alright, next up is Adam Warlock on node 42. This is the one eye open and knockdown protection mini boss. So I'll be using Symbiote Supreme, and just like all of Symbiote's fights, it's just a matter of staying in control. We want to get into cycle, make sure we maintain our prowess for the tactic, and we should be able to nuke once we get into cycle here. So start this fight off with just a bunch of parries. Adam Warlock doesn't have a ton of buffs that we can stagger and nullify for MD, so it just takes a little bit longer to get up to our SP3 to start. The important thing here is to not let him throw multiple lights into our block, which he will go unblockable for. But once he gets the sovereignty buff right there, then we're good. So we're going to dex the first hit of his SP1, so again, we just don't want him to be unblockable at all. And we're going to find the knockdown, and then we're going to throw the SP3 and get into cycle. So I was not able to knock him down before this SP3, so it's not going to do a ton of damage, but that's okay. We just want to get back to our SP2, get one SP2 off at least with all three blessings, so we get a bunch of power back, and get back into cycle again. So we got a couple bleeds doing the majority of our damage right now, but again, once we get those SP2s, we will be golden. So bait his SP2, unfortunately wasn't able to get into cycle there, so we're just going to drop another SP3 once he comes out of this. Get the knockdown first, throw the SP3, and try again. I do love Symbiote's SP3 animation. Get to watch it a lot. Alright, so he throws SP1. Unfortunately, eat that. No big deal. Just got to get this SP2 off. So find the opening there. Nice damage. And throw another SP3 here. Coming out of this, that you got to expect that he's going to go into his stasis pod. So you just want to be patient and not be hitting into him when that happens. So there's the stasis pod coming. Just need to get another SP2 here. Pretty good damage. Back to SP3 again. And following this, we should get the kill. It's definitely a little bit slower. Didn't really get straight into the cycle, but we get the kill. All right, my last fight this war is the Serpent on node 43, and I'll be using Symbiote Supreme. Same game plan as the Adam Warlock. We just need to get into cycle, keep him controlled, and then he has his death immunity buff at the end that we just gotta outlive. So I do have a guidance here from somebody, and we'll start this fight with all the parries as normal, and just try to get into cycle as fast as we can. Thankfully, the Serpent has more buffs than Adam Warlock, so MD will do a lot more work for us here. Try to get out of my corner a little bit. And here's the first SP3. The most important thing with the Serpent is just making sure that you have space on his specials so he's not unblockable during those. If he throws a heavy into the air, we'll just go in and counter. I am using an invuln, so I'm happy to push him to SP3 if I need to. There's a good SP2, get us good damage, and we're back to SP3 again. Restart the cycle. SP3 again. Sometimes when you just do excellent damage, you just get pushed again, but no big deal. So he is nice and low. So now we're in the end game here. We're going to push him to his death immunity. I was hoping we'd have it there before that special, but that's okay. Throw another SP3. This will trigger his death immunity, and now we just have to outlive this portion. He's got plenty of bleeds on him. Throw an SP2, some more bleeds, get some power drain. Back to SP3 again. Unfortunately, I get caught by that special, but the bleeds and the nullifies do enough, and he is dead. All right, that is War 4 in the books. I am 15-0 on the season. LVT does win this war. We are 4-0 to start. I've had a pretty light war schedule so far. This was 7 fights, which was good, and basically doubled what I had through the first 3. But it's always good to brush off Symbiote Supreme. He's awesome when I get to use him. And I think this is my first time bringing Chee'ilth to war as well. So, as always, thanks for watching, guys.